The holidays are everyone's favorite time of year, right? Of course, everybody has their own crazy, disturbing holiday story. So I thought it would be interesting to find some disturbing holiday stories on Reddit. Now, what is Reddit? Well, that's an interesting question. It's not quite the worst place on the internet, but there are certainly some strange, dark places there. Reddit is a social media platform that has a variety of communities called subreddits, and people can post anonymously. And posting anonymously leads to people sharing some of their deepest, darkest secrets and lying a lot. People lie on Reddit a lot. So for the format of these stories, I'm going to tell some stories that I found on Reddit that I found particularly interesting. And then I'm going to decide whether I believe them or not. All right. Here are some disturbing holiday Reddit stories. See, I can't promise that these stories are true or not exaggerated. But we like to read fiction and nonfiction here, right? And the idea that these stories are possibly true gives them a little bit of intrigue. So let's get spooky. I like to call Reddit 4chan for people with jobs. Our first story is from the subreddit Paranormal Reddit by user Magic 8 Balls. And it is called The Ghost of Murder Victims. Ooh. Most people here are probably aware of the story of Ed Gein. For those that aren't, he was a small town handyman who confessed to murdering 2 women in addition to stealing numerous bodies from their graves. One of the women he unalived was the owner of the local hardware, where he and unalived her. The building still stands today. My story happened 20 plus years ago. I live in that same town, and it was just before Thanksgiving. I had already started decorating my place for Christmas, and I needed to replace some of the lights. So I made a quick trip to the hardware store for a couple boxes. I knew the building was rumored to be haunted by the unalived woman, but I never put much stock in it. I was in the back area where they kept the Christmas decorations and was about to grab the lights when I heard someone nearby say something about antifreeze. I turned my head and saw a woman walking by with a massive wound to her head. She then suddenly disappeared. I stood there in shock for a good minute. When I finally made my way to the front of the store to pay for the lights, the guy behind the counter took one look at my face and simply said, "You saw her, didn't you?" Now, I'm not here to hate on Magic 8 Balls, but this story sounds just a little bit too, Sixth Sense, horror movie-esque to me. And the little quip at the end, "You saw her, didn't you?" Based on looking at his face, I don't know. I don't think this story very likely happened. Or at least it's embellished quite a bit. There's that phenomena that we have where you sort of see things sort of in your peripheral vision from time to time, and you might think it's a person. And I'm sort of wondering if that's the case here. But I'm going to go with the story is probably at best exaggerated. Now, this next story is a good reminder that disturbing things can come in all shapes and sizes. And it doesn't have to be grisly for something to be disturbing. This story is from the Just No Mother-in-Law subreddit. It was submitted by a Redditor named Hello Red Panda Person. And it's entitled, Mother-in-law ruined Thanksgiving dinner with oil. A friend of mine suggested that I come here to share stories. We met on an anti-MLM group on the book, and I think the book stands for Facebook, if you guys aren't hip with the lingo. And I frequently share stories of my MLM obsessed mother-in-law with her. I shared this story in a group chat recently and got sent here to share the story of how my mother-in-law ruined Thanksgiving dinner. So my mother-in-law just turned 60, but is celebrating this year as her second 30th birthday and is living her life like this in her second wind, which would be fine if she didn't start a bunch of small businesses, aka join multi-level marketing pyramid schemes. They are all scams and shams. We have told her. Father-in-law told her. Dear husband has told her. The internet has told her. Nope, all haters. Now, look, you can be a hater and still not like multi-level marketing schemes. Like, I'm a hater. I am a certified hater. And I also hate multi-level marketing schemes. So, also, we're talking about spooky, disturbing stories. And let's be real. When your family members get involved in multi-level marketing scams, it is disturbing. You will never not hear about those stupid things. The leggings, the soaps, the vitamins, and, well, the essential oils. Now to Thanksgiving. Dear husband and I have been married for 2 years, together for 4 years total, so I've spent many Thanksgivings with his family. I have known from first meeting her that mother-in-law was firmly just no. That's a phrase that goes with this subreddit. The subreddit's called Just No Mother-in-Law. So being firmly just no means she does stuff that makes her belong in this subreddit. She's overbearing, over the top, noisy, dramatic, and loves to gossip. She's never been outright evil, so we have mostly put up with it. Thanksgiving 2016 was a turning point. Okay, promise we're starting the story now. A few weeks before Thanksgiving, mother-in-law contacted everyone, stating she wants to take a big family photo, but would like us to coordinate outfits. Fine. Dear husband and I can get some ugly orange color shirt from Amazon for like $5. But no, she insists that we all contact her small business sister with an A. Ooh. God, the cringe. To purchase some fall-themed LuLaRoe leggings and shirts. The cost of the outfit is like $60 a person. We all tell her, that's too expensive for picture outfits. We may wear one, so it's a no from us. But she's insistent. We need at least the leggings. Everyone needs them. We all hem and haw. They are expensive. We will never wear them again. The men don't want to wear skin-tight leggings, etc. See, I'll wear skin-tight leggings. I don't care. Maybe not LuLaRoe ones, though. I've never worn them, though. Maybe they're comfy. I don't know. I've heard they're not great, though. Every answer we get is met with an annoyed reply, like we are inconveniencing her. Finally, we get to the week of Thanksgiving, and no one has purchased said leggings. We think we're all safe. We call that foreshadowing in the business here. Dear husband and I arrive with my famous mashed potatoes to his parents' home. Each year, each of the children, there are 3, bring some portion. Sister-in-law and her family brought the salad and rolls. Brother-in-law brings the pies. And I make what feels like 50 pounds of amazing mashed potatoes that everyone salivates for all year. I drop them off in the kitchen and notice mother-in-law is wearing said leggings. She starts showing them off, saying that we shouldn't worry. She has pairs for all of us. I let her know that I am wearing a dress. It will look weird. She then tells me I can borrow a top from her. I drop my potatoes and walk away. I'm not wearing these leggings, and sure as hell not wearing some top with a felt turkey on it. Oh no. About an hour later, we sit down from dinner, and everything just looks weird, like very plain. There's no seasoning to be seen on the turkey, no flecks of pepper or herbs in the stuffing. And the dressing, she has made homemade oil dressing in the past, was completely clear. We start serving and eating, and I noticed my potatoes tasted off. Everyone else must have noticed his brother-in-law made a comment about me losing my touch. I defended myself because, no. I was getting a little upset. I had spent hours peeling, cleaning, cooking, ricing, mixing, etc. on these potatoes, and they tasted so weird. Then mother-in-law pipes up with, "Oh, I forgot to mention, I added some extra seasoning to the potatoes." But the potatoes were clean and there was no color to them, so what could she have added? "What did you add, Mom?" said dear husband, in the tone of, "This shit is about to go down," and he was mentally preparing. I recently started a small business revolving around all natural, completely pure essential oils. All of our food was seasoned with them, minus the pies and potatoes. So I added thyme and rosemary oils to the potatoes and poked holes in the pies so I could sprinkle in some orange oils. She beamed as she looked at us. She was so proud. Now at this point, mother-in-law was in 2 MLMs that I knew of. She was selling lip scents, one that never comes off your lips. I got stuck using it at my wedding. And was selling Scentsy. But throughout the years, she was always active in 3 to 5 at a time. For instance, currently she is doing 3+, looking to start a 4th. But this was her new one. She was so proud. Oils changed lives. She was considering getting off her special health meds to supplement with these. She just wanted us to see how versatile they are, so we could think about joining her down line. My sister-in-law got up, had her children spit out the food, and took them to the bathroom to brush their teeth. I don't think brushing your teeth is going to help, but, I understand the sentiment, right? We all stopped eating. Father-in-law sighed, used to this bullshit by this point, and said he was going to figure out where we can order in food. Because he would do a lot of shit for a mother-in-law, but eating snake oil ain't one of them. She then fully melted down, crying about how her children used to support her, but then they got married. Now brother-in-law too was out of town visiting his family, so sister-in-law was alone with their children. Brother-in-law is divorced and his kids were with his ex. I was the one daughter-in-law there. I think this was when her hatred finally took shape. She started shrieking at me, saying that I should have just kept my mouth shut about the potatoes, that she loves her family, and I've never been supportive of her as a business owner. That dear husband learned his business skills from her, and eventually they were able to calm down, but the path had been chosen. When she left, she gave us each a gift bag, handing me ours, but saying, "Make sure these are only for dear husband." It was full of essential oils and some moisturizer sample. I don't want your crazy dude MLM oils anyway. We threw them out. Now look, I know a lot of you probably don't believe this, but I think that this story is probably true. I have known people in multi-level marketing scams who have done similar things. Like I had a family member who sold all natural cleaning supplies and would use the all natural cleaning supplies to clean fruit and vegetables and wouldn't even wash them off. Like would just literally pop, strawberries out of the soap and eat them. And then they would wonder why they had gastrointestinal issues. So yeah, these types of companies talk about how everything's all natural and so good for you and edible and food grade. And so yeah, I believe it's certainly possible that this woman dumped a bunch of essential oils into her dinner and made her family eat it. And oh man, that's a horror story. God, that's gross. Ugh. Our next story is from the paranormal subreddit. It is by user Quicksilver188, and it's called Childhood Thanksgiving Paranormal Encounter. I'm posting this little story in the hopes that I can find others who shared similar experiences. This is what got me into the paranormal. I was about 10. The year was around 2000. It was Thanksgiving. My birthday is November 23rd. This is the date for Thanksgiving, like once every 4 years. I can't recall if the day in question was one of my birthdays or not, but it's not really important. Okay, so I live in South Mississippi, and for holidays, sometimes we go see our extended family one town over. They have a big house, lots of land, and live out in the woods, and have smaller buildings around the main house, which were being used as storage mainly. When we arrived, my parents introduced me to a cousin of mine I had never met named Zach. He is 1 year older than me, making him 11 at the time. We headed off instantly and we went upstairs to play Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. After an hour of that, we took to running around outside for a little bit, which led us exploring the smaller buildings on the property. We came across one that could have been an apartment for someone. It had a small kitchen, refrigerator, TV, and living room, and some workout machines on the first floor. It wasn't a big building at all. The upstairs consisted of 2 empty bedrooms and a small hallway dividing them. The upstairs rooms were to the immediate left and right of the top of the stairs. Me and Zach went up there and found an empty room to the right, but the door on the left was closed. We went back to the first floor and fired up the TV so we could be away from all the adults for a while and were just hanging out. One of my uncles even came in to grab some frozen food from the freezer and told us to have fun and be safe, the usual adult platitudes. Roughly a half an hour goes by when out of nowhere we hear a loud crash. It sounded like a car crash, or maybe something akin to a loud metal object falling through a house. However, it all seemed to be coming from upstairs. Naturally, we wondered what the hell is going on. Me going first, went to the staircase to see what was up, and there he is, a neon green figure similar to how the Flying Dutchman from SpongeBob is depicted. Transparent, bright green. Was staring over the railing. It was hanging halfway out of the previously locked door staring at us. The door was cracked open now. His torso stopped at the door. Anyways, me and Zach both screamed bloody murder and ran back to the main house and told our parents, who laughed it off as kids being kids. I think someone even made the statement it could be the deceased cousin of ours that stayed over there at one point or another. To this day, my mother even brings it up sometimes. Because we both love paranormal stuff. But it being so long ago, I'm sure my memories have distorted a little bit. However, the image of the green man sticking through a door and leering at me down a suitcase and that loud crash will be with me forever. This one sort of seems to me like, these were 2 kids who just sort of saw things, like you might have seen something and panicked. So it sort of seems like kids being kids to me. I agree with the adult thing here. I think it's very sort of weird for the ghost to be sort of green. They make the SpongeBob reference. And, this being 2000, they say that they were around 10 in 2000, which means they were, born in the 90s, right around the time SpongeBob sort of became popular is when this would have occurred. So I'm going to go with that this was just sort of someone seeing something. I don't really believe that they saw a ghost here. I always want to believe. But I think that here, this was probably just some confusion and, some sort of kids just sort of imagining things. Now, this story is from the subreddit, Let's Not Meet. This subreddit is devoted to sort of creepy encounters with people. It's a good subreddit. And this story is by Wander Are Not Lost. User Wander Are Not Lost. So I'm a male nurse at a large hospital in San Francisco. I work in the ER, and as is custom Thanksgiving night, it was very busy. Now, my wife is also a nurse for the same hospital. She works in labor and delivery. Between babies being born left and right and the people coming into the ER, we hadn't had a chance to take a break together as we try to do every shift. So when she called, I figured it was to say she wanted to meet up for a bite to eat in the cafeteria. When I answered, I heard in the background a male voice screaming profanities in the background, and my wife, who is fluent in Spanish, trying to calm the guy down. She told me their pager wasn't working and they needed security stat. I quickly hung up and called for security. Told my fellow nurses what was going on and ran for labor and delivery, worried sick about my wife. When I ran almost square smack dab into this visibly angry man. He wasn't huge, but bro definitely worked out and not at the gym. I work out regularly, but I knew this guy could kick my butt. He looked at me, gave me this sick grin, and started heading towards me, sprouting off in Spanish. I don't speak fluent Spanish, but what I can understand scared the living poop out of me. I'm backing up as fast as I can. I start buzzing the door to the ER frantically for them to let me in. This guy's literally a foot away from me, and the door opens and I'm pulled into safety by a doctor. He punches the door a few times, makes a dragging sign across his throat while grinning at us both. Next thing I know, the police rush into the corridor he's in, and it takes 2 security officers and 2 cops to subdue the dude. I finally make it to my wife, who was thankfully shaken up, but unhurt. She explained to me what happened. A young girl, only 14, came in, high fever, vomiting, distended belly. The guy claimed he was her brother and they needed to cut her open to get her baby. They did an ultrasound, and to their horror, they realized she wasn't pregnant, but she had a bag of drugs in her stomach. It's very common for drug mules to bring over young women from Mexico carrying drugs that way. He freaked out when they informed him his sister needed emergency surgery, and no, he wasn't getting his drugs. Thankfully, the girl survived, but the sad thing is she will be going to most likely be deported once she recovers. This is a pretty crazy story. I think some of the details are embellished a little bit, like the cutting throat motion. I don't think anybody actually does that. It seems like something that only happens in movies and cartoons. But other than that, I could see this story happening, at least being a mostly true story with some mild embellishment. Finally, we have a submission in the paranormal subreddit called "Picture of my then BF holding our daughter on Thanksgiving 2007. The TV was definitely off." And this is by user formerly gave a shit. And so what this is this is a photograph. And if you look at the TV, this is a very early 2000s TV because you can see that it's flat screened, but, still big and boxy. There is what looks like a face. What's sort of weird is there's also sort of this thing that looks like a pointer of some sort. So I'm not really sure what this peach finger-like thing is, if this is part of it or this is something that was actually on the TV, but the person is referring to the apparition-like face in the TV. And yeah, it's creepy. It's definitely a creepy picture. However, I think this is very clearly a reflection of something. Because if you look in the picture, you can see some sort of like green orbs too, which might, people might say these are ghosts, but very much looks like there's just like a lot of sort of reflection and artifacts in this photo. It's not a very clean photo. So I'm willing to say that this is probably not a ghost appearing in the TV. It could be a reflection. It could be some, smudge on the TV that's coming up. But definitely a cool picture. This is the type of picture that might pass muster online as, a possibly haunted picture. Because it doesn't look faked. If it was faked, it was done. Well, I don't think it was done in Photoshop. So probably not a real ghost, but still cool picture. So good job, everybody. All right, this has been part of our continued Spooky Holidays coverage. Make sure you watch the rest of the videos in my Spooky Holidays playlist. There are Thanksgiving videos, and there will soon to be Christmas videos to get you all in the spooky holiday spirit. Make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, The Spooky Lawyer. A lot of you are watching these videos regularly, but aren't subscribed. I need your subscriptions, Like, share this video to help me out in the algorithm. Help me out. Come on. Play this video for some people send this video to some people get the word out. Make sure you're following me on TikTok and Blue Sky. My username is AKBrews. if there is a spooky story, especially a spooky Christmas story, because we're going to be doing a lot of spooky Christmas this December, send me an email, thespookylawyer@gmail.com. You can also tag me on Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, or TikTok of any sort of spooky social media stuff, any sort of spooky videos you find. Go ahead, tag me. If you're shy, you don't feel like emailing me, you can also just email me to say hi too. I mean, if you want to just, chat, I'm here for you. Anyway, I thank you for watching my video. Thank you for your support. And remember, stay spooky.